Ingnation spirituality is a form of prayer using the imagination and the senses. It is a very old form of prayer until it was popularized by St. Ignatius of Loyola. You choose a Bible passage or story and reflect upon it. You try to envision yourself in the story and use all of your senses, what you hear, see, taste, smell, and feel. You do not need to perfectly follow the passage. God will guide your spiritual journey. To the Ignatian spirituality prayer. Step 1. Prepare with prayer. Say an Our Father.
Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. Amen.
Step 2. Read the scripture passage several times until you know the story.
Matthew chapter 14, verses 22 through 32. Jesus walks on the water. Then Jesus made the disciples get into the boat and go ahead to the other side of the lake, while he sent the people away. After sending the people away, he went up to a hill by himself to pray. When evening came, Jesus was there alone, and by this time the boat was far out in the lake, tossed about by the waves, because the wind was blowing against it. Between 3 and 6 o'clock in the morning, Jesus came to the disciples, walking on the water. When they saw him walking on the water, they were terrified. "It's a ghost," they said, screaming with fear. Jesus spoke to them at once. "Courage," he said. "It is I. Do not be afraid." Then Peter spoke up. "Lord, if it is really you, order me to come out of the water to you." "Come," answered Peter. So Peter got out of the boat and started walking on the water to Jesus. But when he noticed the strong wind, he was afraid and started to sink down into the water. "Save me, Lord," he cried. At once, Jesus reached out and grabbed hold of him and said, "What little faith you have. Why did you doubt?" They both got into the boat, and the wind died down. Then the disciples in the boat worshipped Jesus. "Truly, you are the Son of God," they exclaimed.
In as much detail as you can.
There's a boat. The air smells of seaweed, and the clouds are covering the sun. Until the disciples see Jesus walking over the water, as the sun breaks through, and the air smells clean and fresh.
Step 4. Picture yourself taking part in the story as one of the biblical characters or as yourself.
I am standing as one of the disciples in the boat. I see Jesus walking on the water from afar. Peter jumps into the water and with his great faith begins to walk. When he realizes what he is doing, he begins to drown. Jesus is suddenly there and saves him. The feeling of joy and astonishment at Christ's power is overwhelming.
Step 5. Imagine what you would do and say in that situation.
With the rest of the disciples at the end of the verses, I would praise and glorify God, for he saved the disciple Peter, and we should all have great faith in him.
Step 6. When the story comes to an end in your mind, sit quietly and think about what you learned and how you can apply it to your life.
I learned that we have to have great faith in God and ourselves in order to be a success in being a holy person.
Step 7. Dialogue with God about questions or issues that arose during your prayer.
Lord, how did you transfer your power to Peter and give him the ability to walk on water just through faith? Does your faith really have that much power?
Oh, yes it does, Peter.
Finish with an Our Father.
Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. Amen.
and reflect upon it. You try to envision yourself in the story and use all of your senses. What you hear, see, taste. Step 3. Picture the setting and the characters. Step 3.
Oh my god. We can voice over that, it's okay.
Step 3. Picture the setting and the characters in his.
Eamon, what the hell?